Our topic was solar energy in the Southwest. I'm Cameron Grove. This is McAllister Buckle. It's Jacob Mulligan and Chase Garinger. Next slide. So our problem is that although the Southwest holds a promise for a greener future, this is because there's a lot of sun and not a lot of trees that have to be deforested. But alternatives to non-renewable resources, such as solar panels, may cause more problems than they fix. So our thesis is that solar energy is currently too inefficient, costly, and harmful to the environment for mainstream use. So the first problem with these non-renewable resources is that when fossil fuels are burned, they release nitrogen oxides, which means smog and acid rain. This is according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Next slide. The second problem with these non-renewable resources is that they can affect the wildlife in these areas. Some of these ways they do this is oil spills can soak into the down feathers of birds, which means that they can't fly. And also, when it soaks into those feathers, it can cause hypothermia because they're not as insulated. And if it coats their food sources, then that means they can't eat. So that's very harmful to marine life and bird life. Additionally, the oil poisons turtles in the ocean. This is according to the European Union. Next slide. Third problem with these non-renewable resources is that many of them pollute water sources, and this is according to the Union of Concerned Scientists, and it makes the water actually acidic and definitely not able to be, definitely can't drink it. Next slide. So the second problem with just the renewable resources, which could be replacing it, such as solar energy, is that first of all, they're incredibly inefficient. They don't, all the energy that they take in can't actually be used towards powering things. They're very costly, so it's hard for just everyday people to get their hands on it and use solar energy. They're difficult to store this energy because that's necessary during nighttime. And it's dependent on weather. If it's not very sunny, that means less energy is produced. And lastly, the solar fields that are being built to produce the solar energy are affecting biodiversity because they're disrupting the ecosystems by just putting a bunch of solar panels in an area where there's animals. Oh, sorry. And then the fourth problem with these non-renewable resources I talked about is that they're not sustainable because they'll run out eventually. According to this graph from Ecotrocity, you could see when the resources will run out. You can see that coal will actually last the longest, but eventually they won't last for very long. The latest year that's predicted is till 2081.
So our first solution is just to get rid of solar energy and replace it with a different renewable resource, such as hydroelectric power or wind power. Wind power is just better. It produces about 70 to 80% power yield from the power it brings in. We use it now, so we know it works. One of the cons of wind power is that it takes up land and we have to destroy habitats or take up land that could be used for other things. But wind is sustainable and it's caused by the sun. So wind is caused by the sun. So in the Southwest, as we get a lot of sun, we also get wind, which would help further this. Another problem with wind power, though, is that according to the Department of Energy, some of the best places for windmills and other power capturing devices are in very remote locations, and you need to have transmission lines that go from your windmills to the public, and so it'd be hard to build those transmission lines and get it to these remote places. Next slide. Our other one is hydroelectric power, which is also used. A very famous is the Grand Canyon. This one's good because we have water and, but it's sustainable and it has about an 80 to 90% yield of their power. it also creates many different opportunities with that backup of water as it goes through something like a dam. It can be used as a picnic area for swimming and other recreational sports, which can create tourism for it and bring in more money to the economy. The only major downside is that you need water to have it, so it can only be in certain places, and also it destroys or ruins the ecosystem in that river in those natural habitats.
Okay, so our second solution is that we should implement nanotechnology into our solar cells currently. So first, what is nanotechnology? Nanotechnology is the use of cells that are less than 100 nanometers. So in solar panels, they can fit a lot of those, and those help to reflect more light into the solar panel so that more energy can be converted, more light can be converted into energy for our use. However, in solar energies, it's still not efficient enough because although it reflects more light into the solar panel for conversion, it doesn't convert enough where it's still efficient enough to have in our homes, especially with its costly, like how costly solar panels are. So what are the benefits and the disadvantages? Some of the benefits of implementing nanotechnology is that they do reflect more light into the panel so that more can be converted into energy, which does make it more efficient, but it's still not efficient enough. The second benefit is that it also allows us to make the panels with cheaper materials so that the solar panels can then become cheaper for common people to buy and use. And then some of the disadvantages are that nanotechnology still has to be developed a lot, and that will take a lot of time.
So in conclusion, we choose our first solution, which is replacing renewable energy with our non-renewable energy with wind and hydroelectric power. This is because our solution 2 is going to take a lot of time to develop. It is not developed today, while these sources of non-renewable energy have already been created and can be implemented tomorrow. Sure, it will take time to build, but by the time that nanotechnology is efficient enough to allow solar panels to produce the energy that we require, these should already be up and running. Thank you. I guess.
Can I see your projector? Okay, can you turn off?